Shwetashwatara Upanishad. We'll be on verse number 15 today. Previously, the verse number 14, we have learned that this Atman is within. It is invisible. But by churning it with mantra, the inner light can come out. So that was the verse we read before. Sadeham araning kritva. Think that your body is just like two fire is in the wood, but fire is invisible. But you rub the two wood in a way, one is the bottom, another is top, and then the fire can come out by nirmathanena, means by rubbing. So rubbing means here the mantra, repeating the mantra. So how to rub? Make your body sadeham araning kritva, thinking it is like a key problem. Achha. Sadeham, thinking this body is the lower piece of wood and upper piece is to be rubbed. And with a constant rubbing, heat generates. In early days, there is no matchsticks, there is no other way of burning fire. The ancient people used to create fire like that, rubbing two pieces of wood. And that was in every oblation, they used to do like that. Now he's bringing that example into mantra, Om. So Om is a symbol of Vedantic understanding about Brahman. So you have to, and now our Ishta mantra is there. So keeping this body as the lower piece of wood and mantra as if is rubbed over it, and then the fire of knowledge will come out. So that's why last verse we read, Sadeham araning kritva, thinking of your own body as the bottom piece of wood. And Pranavam Uttararanim. Pranava is the Om, the chanting of the mantra Om. That should be, Om mantra should be the upper piece of wood as it were. And Dhyano Nirmathana Bhashat. Dhyano, meditation, by focusing the mind into that effulgent self. That Nirmathana means Om, chanting Om and thinking of that inner light which is embedded in this piece of wood. Similarly, in the life itself, everywhere is that light. So, by concentrating on that, dhyana, meditation, nirmathana, dhyana is like rubbing the wood. Your meditation practice should be such that you, as if it is bringing out the hidden fire, consciousness, devam pasyat nigudavat. And the nigudavat, like the hidden fire, Devam, Devam means the Parameshwar, the Supreme Lord, Pashat, we'll see that. So,
Holy Mother said like that, like this rubbing thing, she said that the more you use the flour and your finger, the more you get touch, the smell of flower you get. Fragrance that you get that one.
Yeah.
So is it a similar thing?
Yeah, I do not know. Here the example is given that that type of bringing out the fire example. People example are given to understand some high philosophy. So that society understood those days because every home to bring out fire like that. That's why the fire used to be a constant it's blazing because once it goes away to start the fire again is a big job. So I think that is the example given, and that is another example. Yeah, Thakur Ma said, as the flower, handling the flower and nurturing the flower, the fragrance comes into your finger. Similarly, thinking about God, talking about things, your mind will also be having the fragrance of God's experience of presence. So, therefore, this significance of this mantra is this, that as the two pieces of wood by constant rubbing brings the unseen fire which is hidden in the wood visible, and it brings heat and light. When you see heat and light, heat is called the ananda, light is called consciousness. So, Satchidananda. So the Satchidananda is there, but it manifests. Similarly, in this body, you consider this body is a lower piece of wood, and your mantra, pranava, or your ishta mantra, uh, you think that that is the upper piece of wood. As you rub, means constantly repeat the mantra and contemplate on the meaning of it and bring out the fire within, that will uh, gradually the Atman, which is of the nature of self effulgence, that is in, will come out. So here, dhyano nirmatana bhasa means again and again. It does not come in one day. It is to be repeated again and again. This is the meaning of that. That means it needs. It is not so easy. Two pieces of wood just to rub it will not come. It needs constant attention, focus, perseverance, not giving up, rubbing. You have no experience of that. Sometimes you take a matchstick, which is little, what is called, mm, become a little moist, and then strike and strike. You can understand how difficult it is to bring out the fire. Eh? Even there is a something more than the wood in the stick, but it is difficult for other areas. So similarly here, Atman is here present. It is hidden. Fire is here, hidden. Fire of knowledge is here within. It is hidden to bring out. It is the main thing is sadhana, dhyana, nirmathana means many effort and your perseverance and your tears out of your austerity, then only meditation is possible. We cannot meditate normally. Look at our life. We sit for hours together. Where do we meditate? How many people can do even few seconds concentration? So it is difficult. But if that is the mantra is the help here. Mantra is very helpful. That means again and again practice. That means sadhan bhajan is necessary. That means meditation is not for only one time or two times. No? A meditative mood should be created. Meaning what? Uh, not to digress your attention from work, but one type of connection, one type of uh, focus should be there whole day. So as Ramakrishna said, like a toothache. When one has a toothache, one part of the mind automatically is drawn. You need not have to think of anything, it is always drawn in. Similarly, this thought of Atman will be like that. In overcoming the obstacles which prevent the realization of Brahman on the part of the individual, suffering is involved here. That is the barrier. So, to remove that, we are asked to meditate on God and bring him out of the recess of our heart. So it is on every experience is in the heart. Therefore, meditation is suggested in the heart. Our gurus suggest where to meditate. Heart is the best place. Ramakrishna said, heart is the most acknowledgeable place where God reveals more. Acha. Now, to emphasize that verse, again, he is bringing out in Upanishad, the sage is talking about how the Satchidananda is embedded in the recess of the heart. So 15 verse, this is our reading today. I discussed about the last verse to connect with it. Now, this 15 verse says, you can join me chanting, Tile Shutailam, Tile Shutailam, Dodhini Basarpi, Dodhini Basarpi, Apasrota, Apasrota, Sarani Shuchagni, Smarani Shuchagni, एवमात्मा आत्मनि एवमात्मा आत्मनि गृह्यते असौ गृह्यते असौ सत्तेन एनं सत्तेन एनं तपसायोनुपश्यति तपसायोनुपश्यति सर्वव्यापिनमात्मानं सर्वव्यापिनमात्मानं क्षीरे स्वरूपी इव अर्पितं क्षीरे स्वरूपीरिव अर्पितम् आत्मविद्या तपोमूलम् आत्मविद्या तपोमूलं तद्ब्रह्मो उपनिषत् परं तद्ब्रह्मो उपनिषत् परं तद्ब्रह्म उपनिषत् परम तद्ब्रह्म उपनिषत् परम इति तद्ब्रह्म उपनिषत् परम इति. Now, तीरेषु तैलं दधिनीव सर्पीर आपस्रोत शरणिषु चग्नि एवं आत्मानं गृह्यते असो. Jini, ja, they, that that sadhaka, that spiritual aspirant, ki satyena tapasa. Satyena means holding on to truth. Tapasa means with one pointed focus. Kshire sarpiva. In the milk, there is the buttermilk or ghee. Ghee is inside the milk. But when you see the milk, we cannot see any ghee there. Clarified buttermilk is not there. Ghee, you can bring out from the ghee what is called the uh, butter, and then butter you boil and process, you get the butter milk. That means ghee. So, um, tileshu, in the sesame seed, toilam, there is oil, all the sesame seeds, you grind, you can find some oil. But seeing the sesame seed in your hand, you don't know there is any oil at all. So, tileshu toilam, dodhini vasarpi. Dodhini means milk, or you can say yogurt. And the yogurt, there is butter, or milk, better to say milk. Sotassu, in the spring, there is water. No? Sotassu, sotassu, apaha, apaha the water. As water is there in the spring, Aranishu agnihi, arani in the wood, there is the fire. Evo, exactly like that. Evam, in the like manner, asu atma, that atma, the self, atmani, in the lower self, in this lower self, this is the lower self, in this is the big self, capital self, is perceived. Grijate. Now, this is an example, as in the sesame seed, you can find the oil, there is toilam, oil. As you find in the milk or in the buttermilk, there is butter. As in the underground spring, there is water. Similarly, as in the firewood, there is the fire hidden. Similarly, in this body mind, which is impure, which is limited, which is subject to all uh, actions subject to birth, death, decay, etc. In that there is Atman. It is hidden there. Like those example, here is also that. Therefore, Aso Atma Atmani Grijyate. You have to perceive that eternal self in this mortal body and mind. That is the lower self. Jiva is the mortal self which is changing every day. In that changing, there is an unchanging reality. So you have to find out, as you find the fire in the wood, as you find the underground spring, there is water, as you find that in the sesame seed, there is oil, as you find in the curd or in the buttermilk, there is butter. So these are few examples. These have to be contemplated upon. People to understand its deeper sense. Yes, it is hidden here, but I do not know. That's why Swami Vivekananda said, each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest this divine within. Very apt with these ideas. There is that eternal self, potentially divine potential. You cannot see anything outside. Those sadhakas you see, Swami Vivekananda, Brahmananda, say Christ, Buddhas, they also born like us. The body is like this mortal body, which is the birth, which is growth and then decay and destruction. But in that body and this changeable body, they found that eternal reality. Buddha said nirvana, Shankara, that highest illumination, Ramakrishna Samadhi, Buddha. So all everyone experiences that one reality in the middle of all this diversity. So in the changeless, there is an unchangeable reality that can be found out by meditation, by concentration. Aso atma atmani grijyate. Yeah. Now, how enam, that person who sarvabhyapinam, that Atman is not limited here. This body Atma is limited within this height, within this body weight and this space. But the big Atma which is inside, it is aimless, beginningless, all pervading. Shire Arpitam Sarpi, as the surpi means the butter is everywhere in the whole of milk, but it is extracted, then it becomes concrete. So Atma Vidya Tapomulam. So it is, depends on it is rooted in the self knowledge and concentration. How can you find it here? Very practical verse to implement this truth and to realize our essential nature is suggesting that which called surpi ebo, like that of the butter in the buttermilk, atmavidya, the self-knowledge and concentration, it is rooted in that. That means only the knowledge of the Atman and our practice of meditation, concentration, this truth will be come out. Atmanam, this small self, will sustain by truth, by tapasa concentration and anupashyati. See again and again, try to see again and again in this by tapasa is concentration and by constant remembering. So it is called this Sravana Manana Nididhyasana. Listening, manana reflecting, and diving deep into the focus. So these three practice constantly to be done. Anupashanti, that means perceiving this again and again. Tat paramam param brahman, that parabrahma, that knowledge of the supreme Brahman, which has been Upanishad. Upanishad. nishsheshe, totally, it destroys all ignorance. So, as oil in the sesame seed, as butter in the curds, as water in the underground springs, as fire in the wood, even so, this self capital is perceived in the small cell. And that's very important point. As in the small self, it stands for which is the self. Small self is what? What is the small self? What is the small self? Bolo. Small self is this jiva, this imperfect body mind complex, where body, mind, emotion, intellect, that I think I am that. No, that is this jiva. This jiva will be due to ignorance. I do not know why, because I have not explored it. When one explores, like all the examples given, uh, you will find that the truth is here, and that truth is everywhere, and that is Brahman, and that will destroy all the ignorance. Upanishad, coming in contact. Ni means nishsheshe, totally. Shad means destroy. It destroys totally all ignorance from the heart. So he who by means of truthfulness, this is the Upanishadic teaching, that character should be perfect character. God realization is not for people who are not fully truthful, honest, sincere, practicing, and pure in character. So first condition is truthfulness. Patanjali also said, ahimsa satta, truthfulness, what is very rare in the world. So it says, he who by means of truthfulness, and then second is shama dama, self-control. It does not, that is the mastery of our own senses, which distracts, which guides us in wrong direction, and I flow in that direction. So it is control of the mind, control of the senses. In Hindu scripture, you will never find any such support of indulging into wrong lifestyle and making you spiritual. That is, and it is really blasphemy to say so. Unless the foundation of character is there, how the spirituality will come up. So, foundation Ramakrishna said, he said, uh, and he gave everything to mother. Oh, mother, take this knowledge, take this ignorance, and take my all good, all bad. But he didn't give up, take my sattva, truth. He cannot give up. Because if truthfulness, truth is given, then where you stand? And Upanishad will say, Satyena Pantha, by truth only you can reach the path of liberation. So here also, truthfulness, self-control, and concentration. What is concentration? Tapasa. Tapasa means concentration. Now, different definition. We knew that tapasa means physical austerities. Hmm? But now we know it is not physical austerity. What is the oh, she's outside. Achha. So, by the process of oh, ঠিক আছে, come, she will do. So, so by self-control and concentration, that is another meaning, very, very important meaning. We knew that tapasya means austerity means you do fasting, that's one austerity. You can be in the heavy cold, take a dip in the holy water. Hindus do that. Kumbh Mela. What is Kumbh Mela? Go that so much severe cold, and then you wind is blowing, and at that time you take a deep. Austerity is there. People can raise their right hand up for whole life. I have seen one. They call urdhva, the hand up. That's called austerity. Someone is said that he will never sit, so he's standing all the life. All the life he's standing. How? How night and day one can stand? So night time, what he does, he brings two ropes and put his armpit in the ring like end and hang on that. And I've seen his leg is swollen and it is oozing water. Years and years. That's the austerity. This is normally your austerity means like this. Someone is sitting on the thorn. Uh, it is austerity. Giving torture to the pain to the body. And but real austerity is to concentrate the mind on God. All this purpose of this is to ignore the body and put the mind in God. So as one can do that much focus on the Atman within or your Ishta Devata. So that becomes the point of austerity, concentration. So self control, truthfulness, self control, and concentration. Three things, three practices. And Patanjali Yoga says yama. Yama is all control, self control. Ahimsa, non injury. Truthfulness, asti, है ना? Ahimsa, satya. Asteya, non stealing. Then brahmacharya, celibacy, and non receiving gift. All control, all control, all control. That means mind, you are the master. You are controlling your mind, not mind controlling you. So that is the he who by means of truthfulness, self-control, and concentration looks again and again for the self. Here, first here. You cannot see God outside unless you see God here. That's why meditation is so important in spiritual life. Because if you see a little bit here, then you can see the reflection outside. As is the mind, so we observe the world. A person who is wicked, he sees the wickedness everywhere. A person who is holy, he sees the holiness everywhere. Holy Mother said, I do not see anything. I cannot say anything, a simple bad thing to anyone. And I remember everyone with little thing they do with me. So and don't see fault with others. He said he used to say, oh, in the moon. He used to say, oh Lord, if in the moon there is some stain, make me stainless. Not seeing fault with others, but seeing his own fault, as Holy Mother said. So those are the characteristics which are foundational for spiritual growth. And that will never come unless one dives deep here. So self transformation comes here in the heart. So looks again and again for this self, this big self, which is all pervading like butter contained in milk, and which is rooted in self knowledge and meditation. So it is all depending on knowledge. Knowledge, self knowledge. I am thinking I am the body. Self knowledge means I will have to understand I am not the body, not the mind. I am the Atman, no? As we say all the time. Because body is changing, how can I be the body? The mind is changing, how can I say I am the mind? Our understanding is changing. Every day we read some new book, new ideas come, and then we see that our old ideas are useless. So we move from one thought to the other thought every day. So this is the point that only the unchanging thing is the Atman, self, pure consciousness. So which is all pervading like a butter contained in the milk, and which is rooted in the self-knowledge and meditation. That person becomes that supreme Brahman which destroys all ignorance. Hmm? So, got it? Very important verse. Tileshu Tailam. The poetry is there. Tileshu Tailam, as oil in the sesame seed, as butter in the curds. You cannot deny these arguments. It's giving common day experience, no? You can see this is sesame seed and you don't find any oil there. But if you grind it, you can find. That means dhano nirmata neno. We read the other one. By meditation, rubbing with the meditation, like a upper piece of wood, you rub, and the fire comes out. So that rubbing the mantra with concentration, austerity, tapasya, austerity, self-control, all these are precondition to bring the fire out. Uh, that's why there is a story. One time, our Swami Madhavanandaji said, there's the eighth, seventh, eighth, eighth president, ninth president of our order. He said, somebody brought he had a old cushion, used to sit on that. And in his personal life, very austere. He will not take anything what is not needed, nothing extra. So that cushion has become little ragged and also little itchy. It's not a good soft one. And he is already old that time he became the president. So his private secretary asked somebody probably or some devotee brought a nice looking cushion to meditate upon. And Maharaj, at the evening time, when the temple bell will run and then Arati will start, then he will sit for meditation. So his cushion was placed, and when he entered there and he was going to sit, then he saw a new cushion, the very soft, yeah, um, what is soft cushion, okay. And then nice looking soft, and he immediately asked his secretary. His secretary was Sami, what is his name? In no, Toronto, before Pramothananda. Pramothananda Maharaj was his private secretary that time. And he said, he asked him, what is this? Who brought it? Where is my cushion? Well, Maharaj, your cushion is not no more usable. So some devotee with love has brought it, and so it will be comfortable for you to sit. And then he immediately said, take out this. He said that without shedding tears for God, without doing austerity, no one has realized God. Comfort is comfort, but without austerity, no one realizes that bhav of austerity. Bhav, that's why monastic life is mostly bhav of poverty, bhav of chastity. These are the two important bhavs of monastic life. So anyone wants to be spiritual should pay attention to that. So it does not become luxurious. But we are comfort oriented. Nowadays we are younger people. We cannot do like them. But still, some places I see that they are sitting in the floor, hard wood. It bothers me. Why to travel so much, Baba? Why not put a so that you can think of God, not of your pain. So, but those sadhus are they Brahmananda Maharaj's disciple, Holy Mother's disciple. So they are extraordinary people. But they showed us austerity, self-control. Not that they cannot use that cushion, but no, as a principle, no, that will not be austere enough for God realization. We will have to do little austerity. Little, we are sleeping in the night. Rama, Holy Mother said, "Ghume um, in sleep. If you sleep, then your body will get little peaceful. But Mone Shanti Jope. But if you do japa, God's name, repeat the Lord's name, then your mind will be peaceful. You want peace of the body, then sleep. And if you want to get peace of the mind, then do japa. So mind japa means night time you have to wake up, or when you wake up you are doing something to repeating the holy name. No, so it is an effort. So that those are the good efforts. That's why this suggestion is there. Dhyano nirmathanena. With that meditation, rubbing the upper wood with Om again and again by concentration and um, uh, practice, austere practice. Let me read what the other book has explained. Hmm. It says by pressing sesame seeds you get oil, by churning curd you get butter, by digging a river bed you get water, and by rubbing one stick. Here he has Swami Lokeswaranandaji has explained, digging a river bed you get water, and that is much understandable. And by rubbing one stick against another you get fire. In the same way, if you practice truth and self-restraint, and if you keep meditating on the cosmic self, you can then realize yourself as the cosmic self. The Upanishad gives here more examples to convince us that the self capital is within us. There is oil in the sesame seed, but we do not see it. If we grind this seed, we can get the oil. Similarly, there is butter in curd, but we cannot get the butter unless we churn the curd. Again, there is water in a dry riverbed. You may think there is no water, but if you dig a little underground, you can see it. Again, the example is given of fire sticks. If you go on rubbing the sticks, the fire will come out. In the same way, the self, capital, is within you. Atma, Atmani. You discover it. Grijate within. How? Shankaracharya says that we have to discriminate. We are covered, as it were, by so many attributes. I am such and such person. I belong to such and such family. I am tall. I am rich. I am educated, and so many. Shankara says that these upadhis are sheets that cover the self. We must remove this through discrimination. Who am I? Am I this body or this mind? No, I am not the body. I am not the mind. I am not this, not this. You start by negating, and finally you realize, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. So these are the important part. Upadhis, what are the upadhis? Upadhis means limiting adjunct. It limits our real nature. Our real nature is infinite. It limits us. It says, I am an educated person. I am a rich person. I am a poor person. Whenever limiting the unlimited. Ramakrishna said he could not say I, the small I, he could not utter it because he is beyond that. So, but we are proud of our little I. I am a PhD. I am a professor. I am a engineer. I am an engineer. But good in the society it is necessary. But internally, one wants to be there to get out of the upadhis. Yeah? I am the servant of God. And that is my only um, acknowledgement that I belong to God. There is no other quality. Other qualities are for world. Other qualities are binding. Upadhi, upadhi means it binds us, limits us. Our eternal self is limited by that type of statement. So it is said that you should not identify with all those areas. That's why I'm not the mind, not this thing is said. This is limiting me, my mind. huh? But say every mind is my mind. So it is to expand, expansion, expansion. But how do we realize it? Satyena tapasa. Through austerity, to practicing truth. You seek the self through truth. Now you may ask, what is truth? The Upanishad, the Vedanta literature, does not define truth. It simply says that Brahman is Satyam. Satyam is Brahman. That's why it says Satyam, Satyam Brahma, Anantam Brahma. Aratagi?
Shattam Jnanam
Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Satyam, Jnanam Anantam Brahma. And that is Satya, truth. That is Brahman. Jnanam, knowledge, that is Brahman. Ananta, which is unlimited, that is Brahman. So, Satyam is Brahman, that which is. So, Satyam is Brahman. You cannot define it. Truth is a unique principle. We can, of course, understand a relative truth, but not the absolute truth. Relative truth we understand when someone says lying, so we understand it is not truth. And what is the truth? Another definition. Truth does not change. Truth was one. If it is truth, H2O is water. If it is truth, that's why you call it scientific truth. It is same all the time. 10 years before, now, 100 years afterwards, if it is analyzed, it will be found H2O. So that's called the truth, which does not change. But if I say one thing today and tomorrow I differ from that, then I am not saying the truth. Because truth should be consistent and persistent. That's why the Satchidananda Brahman is the truth. Why? All the sages express that truth as Satchidananda Brahman. And he said it cannot be spoken, but I'm just expressing to give an idea of what is Brahman like. So we can, of course, understand a relative truth, but not the absolute truth. The Smriti, subsidiary scriptures, however, go to any amount of trouble to try to define truth, but finally they said Satyam Bhutahitam Praktam. Truth is said to be that which brings about the welfare of all. The one definition. Truth is that if there is truth, if there is some truth, means it will be equally beneficial or good for everyone. The idea of the Upanishad keeps emphasizing again and again is that Brahman is not separate from us. Swami Vivekananda used to say that this self capital is our birthright, our heritage. It is not something that we have to acquire, it is ours already. Only we do not know it. Somehow we have to convince ourselves that we are Brahman, that we are free and pure. Because we identify ourselves with our bodies, we seem to be otherwise. How often we complain, I have a headache, I have a fever. As long as we have a body, we have these things, but we have to try to overcome them. How different our attitude would be if instead of we think, I am Brahman, I am free, I am not this body, whatever happens to the body does not affect me. If we know we are infinite, then there is nothing we cannot do, that we are supreme. Then we have courage and self confidence. He is bringing the pragmatic effect of thinking that I am infinite. Even if you think, when we think that I am weak, I cannot do anything, really we are become worthless. But when you have courage in you, I am Atman, I can do anything and everything, then your power comes out. So that is the positive side and the negative side of it. And the next verse we have read in two together. Here it said that just as a butter in everywhere in milk, so also the self capital is pervading everywhere. We can realize this self only by living an austere life and constantly thinking of it. The self capital is the highest according to the Upanishad. The Upanishad again gives the example of butter in curd. In which part of the curd is the butter? Is it on the surface? No. The butter is everywhere, sarvabhyapinam, in every part of the curd. It is inherent in it. Similarly, the Atman is sarvabhyapinam. It is everywhere, but we do not see it. This self is all pervasive. It is in the tiniest as well as the biggest object. Whatever exists because of it. It is the self capital and the self alone that we see around us. But we do not recognize the self. Why? Because of our ignorance. In order to overcome this ignorance, we have to live an austere life dedicated entirely to truth. This way, we attain chitta suddhi, purity of the mind. As of now, the mind is clouded by attachment to the sense objects. By practicing self discipline and constant meditation on the self capital as being our real identity, we find the self capital revealing itself to us. It is like churning out the butter from curd where it lies hidden. The aim of life is to see the self both within and without. There is nothing but the self everywhere. So, good idea. We have to practice. Huh? You know, in our early days, Belur Mount also, they do buttermilk and ghee, as is the process, churning. That is also another example. By churning the buttermilk, you can bring out the butter. Churning is repeating the mantra. And actually, that was the earlier style, no? We used to see our grandma and others in the early morning, 4 o'clock. They will get up so early, 4 o'clock, and they will be chanting this and Krishna, 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 Krishna. They'll repeat the mantra and then chant the butter to bring out the butter, out of the butter, milk butter. And it is said that before the sunrise, that was more practice before the sunrise, and they used to chant. That is the thing. Chant inside your mind the mantra, and the truth will come out.
Before that, poison will come.
Hmm?
Before that, poison will come.
Poison will come. That also. Yeah, that is southern period. Southern period happens, no? When we do spiritual practice start, then we try to think of God and bad thought comes. So we are very puzzled. What is the matter going on? Nah? I am thinking of noble thought and bad thoughts are coming out of my mind. Don't get upset uh, because it is said it is cleaning the ink pot, killing the ink pot. So you put fresh water, but ink comes out from the mouth first because there is ink settled here and there, and it's washing that ink out. So inside, when we pour our noble thought, mantra, ishta mantra, or om, or whatever, instead of noble thoughts come out, sometimes nasty thought comes out. So
No,
don't
but
get afraid.
when the great ocean churning happened,
That time poison came.
so first the good things, when Mother Lakshmi and all these things were coming.
And then
And
that
then
poison.
the
But there is nobody to drink the poison excepting Shiva. Anyhow, so uh, here is uh, some explanation. Let me see. Sri Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Ramakrishna talked about bringing the butter. He gave the example of bringing out the butter in silence, nirjan. This is to be done in isolation. That's why we do meditate. bringing a time out, coming to the temple where no disturbance, other thought. So that's why. Shwetashwatara Upanishad gives this example. Example is also found in the Bhagavat. What does it mean? That bhuyo tang tapor atishta. That means Bhagavat says you do practice of your austerity and upasana, the practice of spiritual discipline of your self knowledge. Two things are necessary: austerity and Atma Vidya analysis. That means talking about Atman. When you meet somebody, talk about the real nature of ourselves, and when you are alone, try to dive deep. So, continuously, this process will be helping. That then the truth will be revealed in your heart. And also here, yada tu sarvabhutesu bhagavat darushu agnimiva sthitam pratichakshitamang loko jarhat tarhi eva vandhanam. As soon as you can see that me, I am residing everywhere in the heart of everyone, then all this vision of uh, uh, division will be erased out, and so all ignorance will go away. So that is the Dhanovindu Upanishad also talks about such example. It says that Puspamadhi Jatha Gandham, Payomadhi Jatha Gritam, Tilamadhi Jatha Tailam, Pashaneshu Iva Kanchanam. As in the flower there is fragrance, as there is ghee in the buttermilk, butter, as there is sesame seeds oil, and there is the what you call the gold in the mines. Likewise, in the same everyone's heart, that Shuddha, pure Brahman is there only. This is another verse from the Dhanovindu Upanishad. So the same example. Tilanang tujatha tailam puspe gandhami varpitam purushasya sarireti bhajyo abhantara sthitam. As in the sesame seed there is oil, as there is fragrance in the flower, similarly in the body of the individual soul, in and out of the body, there is one reality, and that is Brahman. That is the end of the first chapter. So, okay, we'll start next day, second chapter, verse number 1. But this is very important part we have read that will help us, those who want to practice something, not by reading for reading, but practice, we can get inspiration from this. How to not talk only, but to practice. Concentration, then focus, perseverance, trying to see here the fire which is here, it will come out. Okay? Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Now we have some questions. To do mantra properly, I need discrimination. Please tell me of a technique how to improve Sankalpa Shakti. To do mantra properly, I need determination. That's of course. That's why we should always make a routine every day that I'll be doing 5,000 japa or whatever according to your capacity and increasing every day little by little, not decreasing. And so that sankalpa, that resolution, I shall do it. And you have to be little hard on you. Yes, if I have not finished it, okay, I'll finish and then eat. Of course, it will be too much. I not to hard press. That's why you don't fix your goal too high. Huh? If you are capable of doing 500, 1,000, don't jump into make a resolution. I'll do 10,000 every day. It's impossible. If you do 1000, say 1100 I will do. Next. 1100 I will do, I said 1200 I shall do. So that it is gradually, it increases the capacity, and Sankalpa should not be done in such a way that beyond my capacity, beyond my measure. Hmm. You can make an utopian idea that I will be doing 50,000. Uh, it is impossible. You are not capable of doing that, and so much time is not there. And to reach that 50,000, you will have to try years and years and years, starting from 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, like that. No, so you need determination. As your question itself replies that I need determination. So every day we'll have to determine, okay, I will do today this much. But don't do too much. Then your limit, keep the limit, add little 100, 200, 500, 1,000. That's okay. Hmm? And please, technique. There is no technique. You have to force on your mind and make a resolution. I will not eat. Before lunch, I'll finish it. Then I'll eat. Before I go to bed, I'll do and then go to bed. So that is the only way improve this sankalpa shakti. And also we can pray. Simple thing is that we can pray to God, oh Lord, I want to do it, but I am making a resolution, but I am failing. So please help me so that I can complete. So earnestly we pray, God will give us more strength. ঠিক আছে? No more. বাহ, আজকে তো ভালো. Today is good. No more question. Bas. You have any questions?
Tomorrow gospel class.
Tomorrow gospel class. Hmm? साधन करना चाहिए मनवा भजन करना चाहिए प्रेम लगाना चाहिए मनवा प्रीत करना चाहिए भजन करना चाहिए मीरा मीरा मीराबाई sang this song साधन करना चाहिए we have to practice मनवा भजन करना चाहिए sing the glory of God do meditation and practice. So God realization will not happen just by saying so, but it should be only by sincere practice. Another question has come. Oh, how to keep mental forbearance to keep a positive attitude in spiritual practice when the bad thoughts arise during meditation or japa? Is self-confidence the same as ego? Achha, first question. When the bad thoughts arise due to meditation or japa, we'll have to think that is a play of the mind. I am the pure. Mind is sometimes is jumping this way, jumping that way. So what is my business? Observe the mind. You are not the mind. You observe your mind and say, okay, let it do. Go, get out. If you pay attention, children wants attention sometimes, no? And they cry and make a fake cry to draw attention of all. So mind also tries to draw attention. If you give too much pampering, why it is happening, what is it, then mind will take possession of you. Therefore, we have to take, okay, mind has come, okay, let it go, let go. Passing, you are driving a car, something going on right and left. eh? Okay, happening. You cannot stop this happening, but drive, you drive on. Those will fall back. Negative thoughts come because we are a human being. We have our accumulated past bad karmas of so many lifetimes. Hindus believe all this. We call this samskaras. So where they will go? They will try to raise their hood. No? So let it go on. Why to pay attention to that? So ignore. And then another common factor to pray to God. I want to think of you. Please help me, O Lord. And positive attitude in spiritual life, that I am not mind, so ultimately, but I should not pamper mind by giving attention to it. Attention, there is a psychological problem, no? Some people want attention always. How to draw attention? They can cut their finger also to draw attention. Ah, my finger is burned. Do you know that? Some people torture themselves to draw attention of others. It is psychological problem. So my mind does like that. It wants to put our attention so that we give more value to what is happening. But we should try to saturate the mind with good thoughts. Mind is not responsible. Mind, mind is like water. You put the water in a cup, it takes the shape of the cup. In a glass, it takes the shape of the glass. In a bowl, it takes the shape of the bowl. So you cannot blame mind. But where you are keeping your mind, if you keep the mind in that's why it's called cast. To cast your mind in Ramakrishna. Uh, you have to cast the mind in the Ramakrishna mold. In India, all the Mother Durga, Mother Kali, all these images are created. There is a mold, and the potter put the clay in that mold and press, and then brings out softly so that the everything, eyes and everything comes out. So we have to keep our mind in the mold of Ramakrishna, mold of Holy Mother, mold of Upanishad. Today we read. This is the you can meditate on this verse. The 2, 3 verses I read. Just go and meditate upon the verse. That's also keeping the mind. Always we have to keep the mind in a lofty thought, and that practice should be done. Is self-confidence the same as ego? No, no, no. Self-confidence is not ego. Of course, it's a part of ego, but self-confidence is a good ego. I can do it. I will do it. If there is no self-confidence, then I will not be able to meditate. I cannot do. I cannot study. I cannot do this. No, I cannot do. I cannot do. I do not know. There's a negative impact. So no, we should have self-confidence that I shall do good. I shall do meditate. I shall increase my japa. I shall remember in odd situation God's name. Every test comes, let me not forget God. These are the good confidence that comes in a person who has the self-respect, self-dignity. Okay, thank you. Jai Ma. So tomorrow, 7:30, class on the Gospel of Ramakrishna. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.